Happy hump day. We got some day baseball today. Let's talk some seam. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven, and we're back after a ho-hum 2-2 day. Should have been better, but you know what? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. It's all right. 8-4 run in the last 12. Let's see if we can keep this rolling. More on the recap in just a little bit. Quick reminder, NBA Best Bets video will be out right after this one, so be sure to check that out. But Outlier, you guys know any graphics you see are from Outlier, and we will be having more Outlier graphics for these MLB videos as we get more data and numbers come in. But it is the best betting research tool on the market, as you guys know. Click that link below. You get a 7-day free trial. You are missing out if you're not using something like Outlier. So let's get into it. And as usual, we have an MLB fun fact. Here we go. Mark McGwire and Max Muncy are the only two players to ever finish a full season with more RBIs than hits. That's wild. 1999, Mark McGwire, 147 ribbies on 145 hits. That's crazy. And then 2023, very recently, Max Muncy, 105 RBIs on 102 hits. I bet you didn't know that. In this video, we're going to recap yesterday, that 2-2 day, thanks to Tatis letting us down. And then we'll go over the good and bad hitter matchups, the entire pitcher report. Again, pitcher K matchups will be coming pretty soon. And then we'll give you our best bets and finish it with the recap. Lots of day baseball to get into. But hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below to help this channel continue to grow. If you're new to the channel, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Come join this awesome community. Let's get into it. We got a lot of games starting really early, so be sure to check it all out and make sure to get your bets in. But let's get this party started, and that means it's recap time. All right, guys, if you watched the NBA video, we had a tough beat, but you know what? We had a pretty tough one in the MLB on Monday or on Tuesday. Diamondbacks first 5 innings money line. If you guys watched it, they went out to a 2-0 lead. The game was tied 2-2, second and third, 2 out in the fourth. They hit a ground ball to the first baseman. All Josh Naylor has to do is a nice little underhand toss to the pitcher. The inning is over. He airmails it from 5 feet away and 2-run score, and we lose our bet 4-2. Brutal, just brutal. But you know what? It's baseball. You got to make that play. So over 8 Cubs Athletics. That was a very easy cash. That's why sometimes totals can be nice in baseball because you don't have to wait till the very end. This one cashed pretty early. Kyle Tucker and Fernando Tatis. Guys, I have now lost last 2 hitter parlays due to Fernando Tatis not getting a hit and due to Shohei Ohtani was the other one not getting a hit. I mean, just brutal. Tatis walked twice. I may have to think twice about hitter parlays here early in the season. We'll see. A lot of walks going on right now. And then Sandy Alcantara, the added play, was a nice winner to make it 2-2, under 5.5 Ks. But that's what we got. 2-2 day, like I said, 8-4 in the last 12 bets. We are down ever so slightly. So that's what we got for the recap. Now it's time for the hitter matchups. All right, we got 8 good hitter matchups for you, starting with Steven Kwan, the guy who let us down a few days ago. 7 for 22, 2 extra base hits versus Dylan Cease. And then Rafael Devers, if he could ever make contact, he has a good matchup. 6 for 16, he's hit 2 bombs off Zach Eflin. And then Nick Castellanos, how about 3 of your 4 hits being bombs off Kyle Freeland? Then you see Newman. That's right. Hello, Newman. 6 for 12 versus Sonny Gray. I'm sure we're all running to the window to bet Newman. And then over there on the right side, again, not a ton of hitter matchups yet. Sometimes we'll have a full page or even more, but today, not a lot. Freddie Freeman is 3 for 7 off Bryce Elder, but I believe he is out right now. So, but that's what we got. Nothing else to say. We got some bad hitter matchups, though. Let's go take a look at that. And we got 8 of these as well. Jose Ramirez, 5 for 27, and Carlos Santana, 2 for 21, both off Dylan Cease. That's not pretty. How about Cody Bellinger? 1 for 20 with 7 Ks off Zach Gallen. That's just not seeing anybody. And then over there on the right side, you got Matt Olson for the struggling Atlanta Braves, 2 for 14 with 5 Ks off Blake Snell. Again, it's Snell. Nothing crazy. But then we end with Jazz Chisholm. How about 0 for 12 with 5 strikeouts off of Zach Gallen? That is no bueno. That is for sure. But that's what we got for all the hitter matchups. Now let's take a look at the pitcher report. All right, here are the first 8 matchups of the day, and we got some strikeout pitchers compared to yesterday. Leiter for Texas. Again, these are all last season stats, but 33% K rate. We know Hunter Green can miss some bats, and then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Paul Skeens, who I think got a little unfortunate in that first start, but huge K rate. Ryan Pepio is also a guy who can miss some bats as well. And then you keep going down the line. Cole Reagans can, Freddie Peralta. I mean, we got some really high strikeout pitchers today. As you can see, it keeps going. Yusei Kikuchi, 28%. Sonny Gray, 30%. Everybody is well above the average, which obviously you can see at the bottom is around 21.8% last year as an average K rate. Mackenzie Gore, a decent first start. And Burke for the White Sox actually had a really good first start as well. And then you get all the way down to Dylan Cease. How about a 29.4% K rate? And then we'll talk about that Tyon Springs matchup in a little while. But overall, we got some pretty good pitchers. So we'll see what happens. Only, I think, a couple guys over a 4 ERA last year. But we'll probably give it like 3-4 starts, and then we'll just start including only this year's stats as well. But that's page 1. Now let's take a look at page 2. Tariq Skubal. That's right. The good pitchers are coming around for the second time. 30% K rate going up against, all I can say is probably the worst lineup in all of baseball in the Seattle Mariners. That just is what it is right now. And then we got Framber Valdez going up against a guy who does not have many innings in Roop, I think is how you pronounce his name. And then Clay Holmes, Gillespie, we're going to talk about that game in a little bit as well. And then Garrett Crochet, fresh off a new extension with a lot of money. That's right. He is a rich man now. 35.1% K rate for him. So on and so on. Then we got Zach Wheeler, and then Blake Snell down there as Bryce Elder tries to end the misery for the Atlanta Braves. So that's what we got. Again, you can see expected ERA just to kind of tell you, are they getting lucky or were they lucky last year, and things like that. And then also the hits per 9, walks per 9. Some of you guys like to bet walks as well. So hopefully this helps you out. It's something that kind of starts your day just to look at the matchups, and then you can dive in from there. But that's what we got for all the research help. And now it's time for the best bets. All right, this first one takes us out to Miami, Florida, where the Marlins host the New York Mets. Mets on the money line, minus 198. Marlins on the money line, plus 164, with a total of 8.5 runs. There's all the run lines. And speaking of the run line, give it to me. I got the Mets minus 1.5 as a best bet, minus 115 on DraftKings, 4.5 unit here. We're going back to the well. We cashed this minus 1.5 in the first game thanks to a Pete Alonso grand slam. It wasn't just that, it was a lot more. But I also love that the Marlins just won game 2. Because the Mets are going to come out and really try to win this series now. Starting pitcher matchup, Clay Holmes versus Connor Gillespie. Let's talk about Holmes first. He's making that transition from reliever to starter. He was a starter in college, so he's done this before, but he's got some nasty stuff. I'm kind of high on him this year. Just needs to learn how to throw strikes, polish it. When you've been a closer and a reliever for a while, just takes a little while, just like you saw in Crochet. But in his first start, 4 walks. That's what I mean. He's got to get his control or his command this game. But 4 Ks, 2 earned runs in against Houston. He dominated in the spring. But he's not the same pitcher like Crochet. But again, he's got some nasty stuff like him, and we just need to polish it up. So as long as he's not walking 4, 5, 6 guys, I think he can really shut down this Marlins offense that I just think has overperformed a little bit this year. Connor Gillespie. He's thrown a total of 13 innings in the majors, 8 last season, 1 start this year. In his first start, he walked 4 also and gave up 3 earned runs to the Pirates. That's not easy to do. The Pirates are pretty bad. They're right there with the Mariners. But I think he's in a rude kind of awakening, like a welcome to the majors moment here against this deep Mets lineup that is going to work him and make him earn every single out. Not a big sample size. Also gave up 6 earned runs in his last spring start as well to this Mets team, actually. Obviously, not all starters were playing that game, but bullpen's not even close who's better. Mets got some really good arms available here in this game. They have a lot of good arms, honestly. And it's important for teams in the majors, I keep losing my voice, to win series. Mets are going to come out aggressive. They're going to want to make sure they win this series because they lost the first series. You don't want to lose a series to the Marlins. You just don't. It's just not a great look for you. So I think they're going to come out aggressive. They have the better starting pitcher here, and I think they roll. Again, road teams are guaranteed 9 at-bats, which always helps. So give me the Mets minus 1.5 as my first best bet. All right, this second one takes us back out to Sacramento, where the A's host the Chicago Cubbies. Athletics on the money line, minus 110. Cubs, minus 110, with a total of 8.5 runs. I feel like we've made 85 bets on this series already, but here we go. Let's make another one. Give me the A's first 5 innings money line. That's right, minus 110 on Bet365. This is a half unit play. So I love that we're getting standard minus 110 juice with a starting pitcher advantage. This is obviously, like we mentioned before, a tie is a push because I'm not saying minus a half a run. I'm saying first 5 innings money line. So let's talk about the matchup. Jamison Tyon versus Jeffrey Springs. That's why I said that last segment. Anyways, Jamison Tyon, he does not look good at all. He got rocked in his last spring start, and then got rocked in his first real start. He gave up 6 hits and 5 earned runs in his last start in spring training, and gave up 9 hits and 6 earned runs in his first real start against the Arizona Diamondbacks. If you don't know him, he's a very hittable starting pitcher. He had a good season last year, but I'm going to be honest, he was very lucky. I'm not buying it. He's been a 4+ ERA guy most of his career, not a guy who just misses a ton of bats or anything like that. And then we got Springs. I feel like I'm saying the word spring over and over right now, but Jeffrey Springs is a guy I'm very high on. People forget how good he was before the injury. The Rays unlocked something in him. Great changeup, 2.46 ERA in 2022. And he looked good in his first start. Yes, it was against the Mariners. I get that. But still, he was good in spring training, or decent in spring training, good against the Mariners. He's shown that he can dominate in the majors. I think he's going to slow down this red hot Cubs offense because they haven't faced great pitchers, let's be honest with you, at least in this series. So the offenses, the Cubs, they've swung well against the first two righties. Now they're facing a lefty. They were a little worse last year against lefties. They're around average. And I think they're due for a cool down game a little bit. This is going to be their toughest matchup of the series. And then the A's, obviously not an elite offense, but they're not bottom five like they were last year. They got some pop in the top of the order. They got some guys who can do some things as well with some speed down at the bottom of the order. Scored 7 runs in the first 2 games of the series. First series of the year was in Seattle, the biggest hitters ballpark. I mean, no one scores there. Let's just be honest. It's where runs go to die, and excitement. Tyon should be a good guy for this team to really break out and really get some runs here. So I like counting on a team that's already lost the first 2 games of the series. Again, teams don't want to get swept, especially at home, and it's tough to sweep a team in general. So I think they come out aggressive here. I like getting the better starting pitcher and the team that's trying to avoid the sweep. Give me the A's on the first 5 money line as my second best bet. All right, this third one takes us out to Cincinnati, where the Reds host the Texas Rangers. Reds on the money line, minus 135. Rangers on the money line, plus 114, with a total of 8.5 runs. I got a first 5 here. And by the way, before I get to this bet, this game starts early. So if you're going to tail this or bet anything else in this game, you better get it in early. Under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings, minus 108 on FanDuel. Again, another half unit play for me. So first, the weather. The wind apparently, I'm not trying to say I'm a weatherman, but the wind is blowing in 15 miles an hour. That's what you like to see on a Great American Small Park, as they call it, in Cincinnati. So that's going to help. But starting pitcher matchup, Jack Leiter versus Hunter Green. Let's start out with Jack Leiter. Again, not much to talk about yet. Only 1 start. A lot of people are really high on him. He had a tough He had a tough debut last year, but people think he's going to break out. And guess what? In his first start, he looked pretty good. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 4 Ks, and 1 walk versus the Red Sox. Great in spring training, except for 1 start. He's a guy who's got some swing and miss stuff. And then speaking of that, we got Hunter Green. If you don't know, this guy can miss some bats, that's for sure. When he's really on, he is as tough as it gets in the major leagues. He has even more swing and miss stuff. In fact, in his first start, how about 8 Ks with 2 earned runs given up in 5 innings versus the Giants. He had 24 Ks in 17 innings in spring training. He lowered his walk rate last year. That was a big step for him. When he first came in the majors, he was this guy throwing 100 to 102, but all over the place and all that. So he's much more of a pitcher now. I like what I've seen from him. And in fact, last season, it's how hard it is to hit off him. Righties hit 190, lefties hit 174. It's just not easy, that's for sure. So hopefully he has his command and he's locked in tomorrow. And then offenses. This is a big reason why I like the under as well in the first 5. They've really struggled. The Reds, they had 1 huge game. Just remember that. Outside of that 1 huge game, they've scored 4, 3, 3, and 0 yesterday. Still a young lineup that has a lot of swing and miss in their bats still. And then the Rangers, they've played 6 games this year. They've scored 17 runs. That's right. That's not even 3 runs per game. Hash brown math. They've scored a total of 4 runs in the first 2 games of this series. Semien, Seager, and the bottom of this order is really struggling. Adolis Garcia and Wyatt Langford are really the only 2 keeping them afloat right now. But overall, wind blowing in, 2 struggling offenses. Hopefully the early game affects the offenses here. Instead of the pitchers, we got 2 solid starting pitchers. So the only worry is it's an early day game. If you guys don't know baseball, day games can get absolutely bizarre, where it just doesn't make sense because these players' time clock now, instead of playing at 6 o'clock at night, they're now playing at 11 in the morning, 12, wherever it is they are. So that's the only thing. You're going to see a lot of day games where I'm betting half units and things like that. But I like this one to stay under. So give me the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings. That is my third and final best bet. More bets are coming, maybe in the pinned comments tonight before I go to bed. If not, in the morning. I'll try to get it out as soon as I can because I know these games start early. But more than likely, props will be coming in the morning as I still wait for all of them to come out tonight. So before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. All right, here it is. The 3 best bets so far. No props yet. I know it looks weird, but here we go. Mets minus 1.5 at minus 115 for a half unit. Athletics first 5 innings money line minus 110 for a half unit. If that's tied after 5, it is a push. Under 4.5 runs first 5 innings in that early game with the Rangers and the Reds for a half unit. Now, I just want to say I appreciate all you guys. You guys are leaving a ton of comments. I can't get back to everybody, but I really do appreciate the support. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave your best bets in the comments. I know a lot of you guys are giving away some winners, which is pretty cool as well. But thank you. Appreciate it. Hope everyone enjoys some day baseball, and we'll talk to you soon.